I timed it perfectly.
Hate you.
I'm Patrick.
This is Will.
And I'm Chris, and we're guys with issues.
Chris has an issue with me.
That was
as usual.
high.
Oh man.
That was
high intensity intro.
That
That's
was
what
our-
that was.
That was our best intro yet.
You only get that once a year.
I need to say the word Robin Williams for the name before more
No.
often.
Shut up. So, this week, we're not reading anything. Surprise. Surprise, surprise.
I mean, we are, but
We're reading.
not.
You're right. But you're not reading along. You can't. You know why? Because the material is with us. But some of you've read it because you wrote it. That's right. This is where we're reaching in the mailbag and we're responding to all these emails and criticisms and different things that we've had over time because we've messed up. Can we admit that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a plan, and as everybody knows, the best laid plans of mice and men
Oft go astray.
oft go astray.
Yeah.
The best played lands.
But
The best played lands. You're playing magic. It's about Magic the Gathering.
Magic the Gathering.
yep, that's what we're doing. We're no longer a comic book podcast. We are a Magic the Gathering
We
podcast.
are not. As much as Mary might have been excited to hear that person.
No, I'm
It's
pretty
Wes.
sure that's more of a Wes
Wes
thing,
got
yeah.
excited. Wes got excited. No. But a few of you, I was going to say many, a few of you have sent many emails.
A few of you have sent many emails.
And for a while, we were meeting and getting some email reads in, and we meant to do that several times, and we haven't. And we just hate being behind. We hate being behind the ball, having this backlog, and wishing that we could respond to some of the things that are being said to us. And so we're taking an opportunity to do another special now that Nightfall has ended. Night Quest released last week, and we're doing a bit of a catch-up. And so we are catching up with our email, with our mailbag, reaching in the long box that you guys have been filling, and we would like to have some responses for you. We'd like to respond to what you've had to say.
That is correct.
You know what I thought about earlier? I'm like, it's kind of funny how Pat's sister and brother-in-law are like, yeah, I'm going to email in so I can talk to them. And then they might read my email on the podcast. And my family's like, oh, I'm not going to email them because then they might read them on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a few people who've told me that they don't email because they don't want their emails read. And if you don't want your email read,
I was just going to say this.
Just say that.
Just say it in the email. And
Yeah,
we
be like,
promise we will not read your email.
we will respond to it. We do try to reply to many. We haven't for a bit on some because we thought we were going to read them.
Yeah, let me rephrase that just a bit.
Okay.
If you say you don't want us to read your email on air, we promise we won't read your email on air. We will read your email.
Don't read this. Oh, just delete it. Don't even open it.
Delete it.
For your eyes only. Just mark it. For your eyes only.
It's kind of how I respond to this one. I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast. I'm getting a little bit of deja vu, but you know, EVE Online?
Yeah.
I get this advertisement on YouTube, and it's like, it plays this dramatic music, and this guy's like, this game, you're not ready for it. And at that exact point in time, the skip ad comes off cooldown. I'm like, well, if I'm not ready for it, I'm not listening to your ad. Bye.
Wow. But yeah.
Nailed it.
It was perfect. What they don't realize is that they set themselves up for a great
Right.
gag.
Exactly.
Right?
But so that's what we're doing. And the first criticism we'd like to address, major criticism, is we dropped the ball. We did. We did not consistently update everybody about the butt shovel contest. Okay, it's been weeks. We haven't even mentioned butt shovels on air. which many of you are probably so relieved about,
including me.
as it was, stop it.
You're the
As
one that
it was.
facilitated the butt shovel.
So here's the thing. We realized that it was kind of a spur of the moment idea to do a contest.
It was.
We had a few people saying they were going to participate, and then they never did. I had a few people approach me in person and say, hey, I have some ideas. I'm going to send you some answers. And they never did. And so we were kind of waiting to hear from people. I was, at least, expecting to hear from a few more people who were telling me they had answers.
Mm-hmm.
And we just weren't keeping up on it. And so we apologize. And we're here to announce the winners because they're going to have to share it. But
Yep.
Christoph and Heather tied because they both had the most guesses. I didn't tally them up. I'm going to say they were pretty equal. And
Oh man, that's gonna start a fight.
here's the thing.
Equal
Yeah,
in
because
our
they
hearts.
will. Because here's the thing. It isn't about the quantity of guesses. It was about the quality of guesses. And they were both in equal quality. Christoph did traverse parts of the internet that only the bravest souls would ever dare.
He actually typed in the words butt and shovel into the Google search engine and then pressed the enter button.
Yeah, and so his algorithms have been forever changed for the better. And
But I think he did say, if I vaguely remember, that he did find something that he wants because there was like a pork butt.
yeah, it was that
Things,
grilling tool,
right, the
right?
grilling tool.
The
Yeah.
grilling tool.
So you're welcome about that.
I don't know if he
Christoph.
said he wanted it, but he did find it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, listen, you guys can win. Nobody guessed correctly because we were going to start doing clues. And actually, the last update we did was actually littered with clues.
It was littered with
It was
clues.
littered with clues. And we make so many small references in the last update that we did all those issues ago. And nobody went off of that, and so it's closed. It was a bomb. We'll do something more official and well thought out and planned
And probably
in the
comic
future
book related.
and comic book related. But Christoph and Heather, you're the winners of the butt shovel contest.
Congratulations.
Because you genuinely tried.
You did.
And we appreciate that. It was so fun getting your emails and your guesses, and we would laugh and have a good time seeing those. So the reveal, a butt shovel, which is only called a butt shovel from us because we're idiots, is we were watching Pat play Sea of Thieves on his new monitor.
The tutorial.
The tutorial. He had
Sea of
fired it
Thieves.
up, and the reason... he was just trying to show off his awesome new monitor with these crisp colors and like all this like great look to it.
The frame rate,
Yeah,
the
yeah. it's
hurts
like-
on that are just.
It was.
It
was,
hurts to
I
watch.
knew you were gonna say that. So
Well, if he didn't make the joke, I was going to.
yeah, I know.
I beat him to it.
So in the tutorial of Sea of Thieves, there is a moment where the Pirate Lord, which is why we said it, worth a Pirate Lord's butt shovel, reaches behind him and then produces a shovel that he hands out to you.
A full size.
A full-size shovel.
I'm not talking about one of those little garden
No.
shovels.
And so the comment, I think, was made, like, where did he get that? Right?
Yeah, like where'd he pull that out
Right.
of?
Yeah,
Where
where did he
that
pull
from?
that out of?
Mm-hmm.
You know, being a ghost, incorporeal, technically. And we were like, that is a butt shovel, because I'm pretty sure that's where he just pulled it out of. And we thought that was funny in our immaturity in the moment. And it carried on into the podcast, much to the chagrin of Patrick.
Correct.
And then carried on to further podcasts, much to the chagrin of Patrick and myself, to where anytime I would say but, there would be a possibility that Will would chime in with shovel. And
Only if there was a decent enough pause. If
typically.
he said but and then continued talking, I'd let it slide. But he'd be like, but
And then you
he
would-
was just rife, just open for criticism
my
to be inserted with the word shovel.
He was right for that criticism to be shoveled in.
Yeah.
there were a lot of things that I just didn't say. But anyway,
Anyway,
so that is what a butt shovel is. It is the shovel you are awarded with when you start the game of Sea of Thieves, and you are given the shovel from the Pirate Lord. Pirate Lord
Right.
Ramsey, which that's why we make a lot of sailing references. We do reference some gaming things. Even in that episode, and the fact it was on the monitor, and we we were really hoping some people would listen back and kind of pick up on some of those clues to even give a mild guess, because we had always hoped that somebody would guess something adjacent and we could give a hint. But it really never got there. None of my Sea of Thieves friends who do listen, I have a few, venture to guess, but they I believe they know what it is, and they were like, oh, okay, yeah, Pirate Lord. And so that's a shame. It's a shame that it was a flop, but it also was a stupid idea to make it into a contest. So
That's on me.
Okay, I apologize. I didn't mean it. Yeah, I wasn't insulting the idea. I said a stupid idea.
No. I understand what you meant.
Okay,
And
it was unplanned, and we were like, let's do
right.
it.
Yeah, it was spur of the moment.
It was
and
spur of the
It was
moment.
my idea.
But it wasn't. It was made with a good heart and good intention. It was like, oh, that would be fun.
That would be fun.
And so, but we being new to podcasting, and our structure not being, well, really our structure being averse to keeping things current, we made a mistake and we mishandled it. And so we just wanted to say we apologize for those of you who are like, well, we never even got closure on that nonsense. And even though I don't really care, I do kind of want to know. There you go. It's a shovel produced by the Pirate Lord Ramsey in Sea of Thieves. So it was just a dumb joke. It was a dumb joke. It probably won't age well as this goes on.
It's fine.
But anyway, I was scared Will was going to say it there.
Anyway.
Yes. So there you go. The close of the contest. That
Yeah.
is one of the reasons we needed
It's
to do a current
time.
episode.
We put the Pirate Lord's butt shovel behind us.
So stupid.
Just right back there.
So stupid.
You know, it's so dumb. Anyway,
But I think that's why we love it so much. We just love dumb stuff.
sometimes so did Robin Williams. He did genuinely enjoy
He did.
that kind of dumb humor. He
did.
probably
He would
would have
have
laughed at
loved
that.
the Pirate
He
Lord's
would have
special.
genuinely laughed at that.
Yeah.
Probably because he was on cocaine.
And
Stop.
And the reason we're bringing up Robin Williams is because for my other book club that this podcast is loosely based off of, we are actually reading Robin's biography.
Yeah, and somehow I'm now part of this book.
Somehow, Chris is now part of this book.
And I am also reading this biography.
Right.
So Patrick has finished this book.
Mm-hmm.
I have not. And I'm in the part that I think Patrick thought was a more challenging, slightly less engaging portion of the.
I would
the
say
book.
less engaging.
So a little more challenging to get through, but I still have a couple of weeks, so I'll be fine.
You got this.
Anyway,
Emails.
yes. Wow. Chill out.
We're tangenting.
He's
No,
disruptoring.
we're clarifying something, okay?
We're talking about Robin Williams, and I just
You-
I almost
How are you the one that cares about tangents when you are constantly trying to throw everything off?
because now it's funny.
And we're on a literal timer now. Is the problem?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to keep. I was about to ask Pat what he thought about Robin Williams and his biography and start diving into that.
No,
but like we kind
Patrick
of
and
are-
I weren't going to talk about
Yeah,
it.
I can't spoil anything.
We were
But
just
that's what
mentioning-
I was about to do.
Well, thank you for
So
not
I-
tangenting. So you just yelled.
yelled to physically stop myself from going down
All right.
the Robin Williams rabbit hole.
No,
Yeah.
All right. We can talk about it later if you want.
Oh, I was 100% going to talk about it later.
Cool.
Okay.
But like we gotta focus.
So
down.
anyway, now we want to go on to some emails. We have had feedback from several people, mostly Christoph and Heather. You know, they love to be our favorite emailers.
Yeah, they're great.
They do a great job, and they are always. Thank you to both of you because they're fun to read.
Yes, we appreciate you both, despite the fact I've met you both once
At Gen Con.
at Gen Con.
Does that depreciate the
No,
appreciation?
No. It doesn't elevate or depreciate the fact that. Oh, hang on, wait. We didn't actually talk about like. You can just kind of cut this out if you need to. if we're gonna give them a prize or not.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
will. We're gonna give them something.
Yeah, we just didn't mention.
No, we're gonna.
We said they had to share it. So
Ooh.
Did we say that on air?
yeah, he said that. Yeah. Were you not listening to him 5 minutes
No.
ago?
So they
I kind of
No,
started
we are.
thinking about
We-
other stuff.
I have some
sometimes.
I have some ideas. I really have one that I think is on. I think it's good.
Okay, I didn't know if we want to throw out there that if they wanted to be on the podcast, that was still because
Well,
we
yeah.
mentioned that as a potential prize. So I don't know if that's what that was
Maybe.
motivating them. So depending on what their motivations were, if that was something you wanted,
Christoph
it's still
already
on.
did suggest something, and we did read it. It just hasn't aired yet.
It's soon though, right?
I think next month. I think it's
month?
next month. But yeah, so yes, they will be getting a prize. It will be hand delivered by Patrick, most likely.
Yeah.
We're not going to mail it.
Definitely.
And if they really wanted to be a part of something live, we could do that. We could facilitate that eventually.
Right.
So that's up to them.
I mean, they do know how to get a hold of us.
Yeah, better than anybody else. But I do want to give a shout out to Longbox Logan. He, having been on the United States of Paranormal, is all about Halloween, one of his favorite times of the year. And he did send us a suggestion for a Halloween episode. Unfortunately, because of our recording schedule and our lack of forethought when it came to holidays, we did not plan a Halloween episode. We discussed it after the fact. We discussed fitting some stuff in, but because of some other plans and how our issue count and episode count, because they are different, kind of fell into place. We wanted to leave things as they were. But Logan did email in and he said, I know there's a solid chance that y'all have Halloween content already planned. I appreciate that you guys thought that, Logan. We did not. But if you don't, I
You
have
thought-
y'all mentioned Punisher. He said, I know y'all mentioned Punisher. And he said, well, I've got a treat for you. Frankencastle. Frankencastle is Frank Castle, like you've never seen him before, sewn back together with spare parts and machinery by Dr. Morbius after Wolverine's son cut Frank into pieces and tossed him into the sewer. And he said it's so bad that it's good Halloween fun. And so we will have to get Frankencastle in our read list eventually, perhaps for next Halloween as one of our potential things. But yeah. Thank you, Logan, for thinking of us and for thinking of Halloween.
and for expecting way too much of us.
I also thank you and Jay for all the shout outs that you guys give me on Tucson right now with the intro. So I appreciate that. Anyway, Will, which one do you want? Are you going to do
You know which one.
the one you haven't read?
The one I've never read before, but you just told me about.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, Will's
Called-
taking one.
From Heather. Patrick's sister. I usually read your emails. And it's called Cradle Series Confessions. We might have to fight afterwards. We'll see. Dearest guys, I have a deep, dark secret. I have listened to the Cradle series through Ghost Water Chapter 2, and I gave up on it. Well, how dare you, Heather? How dare you? Should just
And at
stick
Ghostwater.
at Ghostwater, where it's kind of interesting because you finally get Lyndon by himself almost.
You get Dross in Ghostwater.
Dross is so funny, so you just keep listening, please. I had given it the old college try, but I just can't do it. First off, the good things: the protagonist is clever and it is fun to read. My eyes kind of messed up there a little bit. It's fun to read how he outthinks the bad guys. The turtle is awesome. I enjoy reading about the items he gathers to increase his powers, and I like reading about the personal relationships between the characters. I like reading about his training. I am not a person that likes reading or hearing descriptions of fighting, though. I can manage a few fights here and there, but this is too much for me. I guess there is quite a bit of fighting in that
There
one.
can be.
Especially in like the beginning part.
She would really struggle through the tournament then.
Yeah.
Oh.
through, what is that, 6 and 7 or 7 and 8?
something
Oh, but is
Something
she...
like that.
Wait, is she reading or reading listening? Because some people are like, oh, I read books, but they're actually just listening to audiobooks.
Not sure.
I think she was listening. Did you finish her email? She talks about it.
Oh, okay, all right. I'll actually finish. I would probably be better off reading it as an actual book instead of an audiobook. Then it literally answers my question in the next sentence. Thanks, Heather.
Good conversation.
Then I could skim over all the overly detailed fight scenes, find out who won, and get back to the good parts. You know, the parts where people are talking to each other. I just keep getting super bored during the fighting and flipping to the radio or podcast or something. So these are not very good books for me. No likely too fighty. Also, I like improv synopsis. Will, yes, thank you. This is the best. Off the cuff, just telling us what it is about is awesome. Heather, Pat's best sister ever. Well, Heather, your competition is steep. As is one and only sister.
Wow.
But no, we were talking about...
That was a jab.
Was it a jab?
Yeah, like you're like, good job winning the competition that's got no competition.
Yes.
I do think you should try by reading and skipping. I think you should try it. It has a lot of good stuff.
As soon as you get to Dross, it starts getting really funny because of the interactions between Dross and everybody else, basically. His commentary is always fun.
But it's okay that you didn't like it.
Yeah.
You are, in my life, the first person I've talked to who's read it and not liked it.
Especially
like legitimately.
I know.
With how she's reading it via listening to
Travis Baldree.
Travis Baldree, who's a great
who's like the
audio
king
narrator
of narration.
right now. He is in the hot seat. So I don't really see it. I don't know how you could not enjoy listening. But yeah, if the fights are boring you, because there is quite a bit of fighting in that beginning part, it does you kind of get out of that for quite a while, and then there's one more fight there at the end. So
In Ghostwater.
in Ghostwater, yeah. Obviously, in this series, there's a lot of fights that happen.
Some of them are so cool, though.
They are so cool.
Do you have one that you wanted to read now?
No,
not a specific?
Not really.
Well, we do want to shout out that Christoph also emailed about Cradle. He finished Cradle and said, it rocked. He loved it. And it had a great conclusion. And he loved that the end of the series wasn't just one big fight and the book was over. It actually had a satisfying conclusion that carried past the big conflict at the end.
Yeah.
And he said that he loved that and that it set up the universe that it's connected to for a greater story. Yeah, that's how we felt about it. We felt like the conclusion was really cool. It was satisfying to see a book that had a series really go on that long and have all of the major conflict points conclude quite a bit before the actual ending.
Yeah, yeah.
And you got to see what happens because of all of it.
For the most part. It is a little bit of a rushed ending.
Yeah, I mean, there could have been a whole additional book about what happened after. Like,
I mean, I feel like he could have. Yeah, because there is like
spoilers. I'll beep that out. I'll beep it out.
Then I won't say what I was about to say. Then
we can. But yeah. So sorry, Heather, and thanks, Chris. I'm glad you liked it.
I mean,
You're welcome.
Thank you to both of you.
Yes.
For emailing. Thank you, Heather, for trying. At least, even if you don't pick it back up.
Pat, why don't you read Christoph's no issues email? That's a good one.
No issues.
So before he reads this, Christoph calls out some things he really likes. He has been very kind and generous in emails, sending loads of constructive criticism that he knows some of the things that he criticizes or maybe doesn't like for himself are other things that other listeners may enjoy. But he's given us a lot of really good feedback from his own personal opinion on what he enjoys about the podcast. And so thank you. We do appreciate any feedback. We do get feedback from others in person as well. And actually, before you read that, I do want to thank Lorena. She also listens every week, first thing Wednesday mornings, and she loves it. She also got us. Do you remember how we talk about Takis and how they make your fingers all messy?
Yeah, sure.
And we made a comment about how, I think maybe you made the comment, Will, about how we need like chopsticks to eat like Takis when you're working on other stuff so your hands don't get all dirty.
Yeah, it sounds like something I would say.
So there are finger chopsticks that you literally set between your fingers and you squeeze them, and they're for eating snacks while you're doing things like typing. And she bought us all a pair. Because we talked about it on the podcast, and she had just found those because she also enjoys things like that while she's working. And I was saying that I was eating those blue Takis while I was editing, and you talked about your niece and liking Takis.
Oh, yeah.
And I like that you're like, sure. But
well, I know what story you're talking about when you say Takis and my niece. I'm like, I could do the math. I know what story I told.
But Lorena got us all three of us a pair of those chopsticks.
That's awesome.
So thank you, Lorena.
Yes, thank you.
It's a podcast gift. Thanks for thinking of us. That's awesome. She also gave us a suggestion on some X-Men comics to read from when she was a kid. When she was younger and was first checking out comics, she really liked the art style of Uncanny X-Men issue 348. It's got Rogue and Gambit on the front cover, and she said she would love to hear us read that or the story arc connected to it and give some feedback. So please know that is going on our list. So your suggestion, we heard you. We're going to check it out, and you can look forward to that in the future. So anyway, Patrick, are you ready?
Sure, let's do this.
Let's do it.
So, Christoph wrote in and says, am I close enough to my mic?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, he said that in the email.
Pat, get closer to the mic.
Guys, I just finished issue 11, and oh my God, I love this episode. See, he said episode 2. Does that mean
Ding, ding, ding.
he needs to put it in the swear jar?
He always says that we need... Oh, he says it at the bottom of the email.
I need to read the Flashpoint series now. You succeeded and made someone want to read comics. Congratulations, guys. Great job.
Yay, we did it. We did
We
something.
did it. A few kudos where they are due. I am low-key in love with Structure Steve.
Yes.
You better watch out,
Ooh.
because he rocks.
Yeah.
And rolls.
Only if it's part of the structure.
Thanks, Chris.
I gasped when Synopsis Will said he was freewheeling it, expecting the worst, and hearing the best synopsis yet.
2 people. That was
the Flashpoint episode.
That I'm freewheeling it from here on
Freewheeling.
out. Boys.
No, because
I'm
the one after that
freewheeling.
you bomb,
So-
but the one after that you write, and it's amazing. Last week's episode, Night Quest,
Yeah, that one.
did I?
Sorry, Night's End.
That one was
Night's
amazing.
End is so good,
It
and
is.
you wrote
Thanks.
it out. So
Thanks.
let's calm down, okay?
Calm down.
Just may.
I won't be Free Willy.
Also, I'm here. Also, I am here by giving Patrick his new superhero name.
Oh.
Patrick, the Pun Issuer. I'm here for it. 'Cause
That is
That's a
the
good
most
one.
apt nickname I have ever heard anybody give you, Patrick. The Pun Issuer.
the Pun Issuer.
It's perfect. That is perfect, Christoph. Oh my gosh.
So
Anyway,
anyway,
such a nice email. Keep going.
Professor Chris was wise, sage, and calm all at once.
Do I usually not stay calm?
I don't know.
Probably through voice, he probably seemed calm. But if you could see him in real life, it's just like, meh.
Is that what I'm like?
No, I've never
He
seen
waved
it, but
his
hey.
arms unenthusiastically. Will's interpretation of me is an unenthusiastic arm wave.
I mean, there are times at work.
Oh,
I mean,
no,
you ever
that's
see those,
enthusiastic. Do you need me to stand in your doorway?
It's like those, they have them at like car dealerships and some other
Are you talking about
places.
the big noodle guys?
The big noodle guys.
Wacky inflatable tube man.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. That's Chris.
All right. So he continues. For me, this was a near perfect issue. One last suggestion. Need to add a swear jar to the Rebel, and each time someone says episode instead of issue, need to add funds to it.
Wow.
There were a few where even Professor Chris used the E word. Yours sincerely, the Trekkie, the first emailer, the longest emailer, the most faithful listener, the Trekkie Lord Supreme, Christoph.
And yes.
Lorder Supreme. He added an
Lord
extra
Earth,
R.
sorry, yes.
Okay, we do need to acknowledge his one email that offered all of those criticisms. Definitely the longest. That was even longer than the
Okay, there you go.
your Georgia friend.
Well, the reason I said
Right?
it as a question
'Cause he
was
did.
because he put a
He
question
put a
mark
question
on it.
mark.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, wouldn't you agree that he's
I mean,
he
we
has to
could
have
we
pulled
could go by word count if we really.
dude, I'm pretty
But
sure
I'm pretty
his
sure
word
he
count
probably
is the
has-
highest. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
Probably.
So anyway, man, my headphones are loud. Did you have any others? Did we need to do we need to this is a part. Do we need to acknowledge? We should acknowledge Iona's.
Yes.
Okay. Did you read it?
Nope. Hang on, which one are we talking about?
Where is it?
The Assumption Bone.
Angel Undercover?
No,
I don't see it anymore.
I have it.
An
It's not-
Assumption Bone or two to pick?
Right.
Yeah,
That
mine doesn't
one's
show it
that's
anymore.
Oh, that is a book. She
Okay,
wrote
but
a,
This might
she,
be the longest email.
she
No.
wrote us a book.
Dude, it's not.
Okay.
Christoph's.
Oh, hey, she's Iona Cutlass.
Yes.
You can just bleep that out.
What?
Okay, you guys kept
Stop.
saying I own a cutlass.
Just stop.
And I didn't know what the heck you were talking. Literally, no
I said
idea.
she has beef with you.
I didn't know who Iona Cutlass. You said that
Why
earlier.
are you yelling? You're on a
Because-
mic.
I can, and I will.
I think
You
the problem.
can and you will. You are will.
I think
and you
that-
have a
So
cannon?
we were recording before, and you said
I think that-
Iona,
Hold on.
He's
hold on.
explaining it, but I know what he's talking
Okay.
about.
and I just discovered who Iona Cutlass is.
I know.
That you kept telling me to shut up, and I will not shut up.
Did I say shut up just now?
You were telling me to be quiet. You didn't say
As
the word
in-
shut up.
Lower your volume, man. I meant chill, simmer down.
Simmer down now.
Because if you don't and you read her email, you're going to blow your crap.
So I just think we should.
I think we're going to reference it. We're not actually going to read it.
We're not going to read it.
She
Probably
offered
not.
us words of. Maybe that's why things get lost in my email. I just accidentally touch things all the time. So she offered some criticism to something we said in another episode in Night Quest. I can address it directly, right? Right? You good with like
Sure.
right? We can go back. She basically just jokingly teased us a bit about Will's debate with Will and I, although in the end I say I'm not totally convinced either way. And Patrick stayed on the she wasn't, and Will stayed on the she was side. But in our reference to where there was a woman that Azrael almost, Jean-Paul as Batman, almost ran over in the finale of Night Quest. And Will said, when he almost ran over that hooker. And I said, did you think it was a hooker too? Because I wasn't sure, but I was kind of wondering. And we got into that whole discussion that I almost cut out. I left it in because I thought the debate about it was interestingly done enough that I left it in for content, even though I debated because it sounded a little off. And I thought, no, it's okay. We're going to leave it. And so that was my decision. I ultimately made that decision as the editor. And she said that hooker is not a word that should be used nowadays because has negative connotations. I'm sorry. I can't look at Will right now. She pointed out that the term hooker is a kind of an outdated term because it is derogatory in the sense that it devalues the person behind the profession, or when would you say that that's a good gist of it?
Yeah, that's a good gist.
Basically, it's the idea of devaluing somebody because of somewhere that they're at in life. I appreciate that you're willing to call us out for things that you don't like. I can tell you that Will's face says that he doesn't agree with you, and and that it did not.
Well, her argument has merit.
It does. It does.
I will admit, especially because we don't know if that woman.
Well, that was the
on a
whole point,
picture
is we didn't
that doesn't
actually know,
actually
right?
exist. Is actually a hooker or not.
And we know that women's fashion can be whatever they want, and it was just a discussion. It was meant to be for fun and funniness, and I know that you understood that overall. But on your, you poked fun at us for not knowing fashion and to get with the times. And thank you. I've been to college campuses, and saying what people dress as at Halloween does not count as to something that somebody's walking around in Gotham. That's. Patrick's just like, Patrick's regretting this already. And I don't care because you're his friend. You're not my friend. So, you can.
I even met hookers one time, and I saw there was some fishnets and stuff there. So it's easy.
You met sex workers
on accident. Yeah.
Yes. No, I was just.
Yeah.
And Pat already regrets that we're doing this. So this,
as long as it's on the record, I regret we're doing this. That's all that matters.
Yeah, Pat's face is like, I have regrets, but that's okay. And so, because this is what you emailed in, and we're responding. So, and I actually do also. I do have personal experience knowing somebody with that profession. And so, like actual knowing of somebody who does that, on a personal level that isn't weird at all to say on a podcast.
It's weird to hear on a podcast.
Yeah, but it's not that kind of level. So anyway, I appreciate that you're willing to call us out. I think that's great. I think it's great to have people, all the time that are willing to challenge the way that you think and to disagree with you, and that it's always good to feel fine disagreeing with one another about whatever issues or comments or whatever. So I don't disagree that the term is dated and that I'm could have cut it out, but I chose to leave it in, and I'm glad that it spawned this conversation with you, and I'm glad that Patrick can have a friend like you where you guys can connect and think that we're deplorable. So there's that. And so thank you. Appreciate your emails. Patrick's excited to come see you. You're about to see her, right?
Yeah, going down.
Yeah, you're going to be there when this airs.
Yes.
So.
Well, yes.
Or will you be leaving at that point?
Yes, I don't remember.
So anyway, you will have just seen Patrick, and he'll probably say, "Hey, sorry that the next issue is obnoxious." But that's okay because Patrick's still our friend, and you're still his friend, and hopefully you still listen to us, even though you think we're idiots at that point. And we have one last person we wanted to do. Yep. Logan, who we already mentioned, also sent us another response to our Emerald Twilight episode issue.
Ding, ding, ding.
Dang it. There's
but this one's a little bit different, isn't it?
Yeah. So this is cool. So let's hear from Logan.
Sounds like a plan.
Hey guys with issues, it's Logan. I just wanted to send you a quick message since you guys covered one of my favorite characters, Green Lantern. I agree that this was an important part to jump on, albeit not one of the best Green Lantern stories for people that don't know much about him to hop on, but it lays important groundwork to the rebirth issues of the run that you guys eventually want to do, and that especially tells you things that you need to know about Hal Jordan's fall. That being said, Hal Jordan's dad was actually a great guy. Was Hal's favorite person. He basically is why Hal is the way he is. But seeing how at that point in time Hal's psyche is broken, and he is devastated by the loss of his whole city and most of the people he knew, his constructs and his opinion of himself were at an all-time low. So his constructs of his father, he imagined him being disappointed and talking to him like he was trash, because at that point Hal thinks of himself as trash and as of a failure. And that
So that was really good stuff that I kind of wish I would have known before I read that.
Well, we have that discussion
I know.
of whether it's the ring or
Right.
and we determine that it is Hal's subconscious that fuels what they
Sure.
say.
But it's good to...
But I did not point out that Hal's father was his role model. I realized that, like, when I listened to Logan's, I was actually driving the other day and I was listening to it like on my car speakers. And when he says that, I was like, oh yeah, like that's something that I know, but for the story, I didn't really think about it. And he was a jerk in that story.
Yeah. So like,
Because
he
he was
didn't
my
seem like that
least
great of
favorite
a.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's because of the projection of it, but he was Hal's role model.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was, we appreciate that you pointed that out, Logan. Like really, that was important.
Right. And he's continuing on.
Yep.
that's why when he had rebuilt the city and everything, and Hal Jordan's was in a little bit of a better place mentally because he felt like he was accomplished something, even though technically he wasn't. His dad's opinion of him was higher because at that point Hal's opinion of himself was higher. I can't wait for you guys to read more Green Lantern stuff. I'm surprised that you guys have not looked into, especially with your remarks on making an enterprise out of Green Lantern energy. There is a run of Green Lantern Star Trek crossover comic books. So maybe that's something we'll want to look into. But you guys keep up the great work. I can't wait for you to do more Green Lantern stuff. Catch you later.
Wait, did he say that? Because I had an idea of turning. I should really listen to our own podcast.
You really should.
Well, Logan, we do want to thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I have told Patrick about the Green Lantern Star
I
Trek
was looking at
crossover. It was something that when we first started talking about this, I actually mentioned. I was like, "Hey, actually, there's a crossover with Green Lantern and Star Trek because it's one of those that I think IDW owns. Yes, IDW owns Star Trek, and they like to cross over with some stuff. So you have like IDW's Ninja Turtles crossover with Batman at one point, and they've also crossed over Star Trek and Green Lantern. And I think there might be one other thing they've done, but yeah, great suggestion. I think it might actually be on our spreadsheet that I made. That story arc may actually be on there. I'll have to check. I am not sure. But anyway, did we have anything else to touch on?
I don't think so.
No?
We did most of it. If we did, email us and we'll get back to you.
Yes, at longbox@guyswithissues.com.
Yeah, so thank you for sitting with us for a mail issue, basically, going through our mail and giving the shout outs and appreciations to everybody who's been participating. My wife texts me when she's listening sometimes in response. She hated that I insulted England's food. So I will point that out too. She said, not only did I say that eggs on burgers don't do anything for me, which she thinks is absurd, but that I insulted an entire country's food for being bland. But that's because the people I know from England have said that.
Yeah.
So
same.
I'm not just making it like it. I'm not freewheeling it. Like I was just repeating what I've been told. I've never been there. What were you going to say?
Back to Iona Cutlass. At the end of that email, she did say that we read a lot of comics where the main protagonist is a male, and she would like to. I would be really curious to have y'all read a female-led comic such as Wonder Woman by 2 different writers.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, I
So
have.
we do have some of those on our to-do list. It just seems like we haven't gotten around.
Yeah, it's we haven't intentionally done avoided that. Some of my favorite comic arcs are things like Captain Marvel from DeConnick's run. That's her last name. Her opening story arc is so good. I love Edmondson's Black Widow run. Wonder Woman has a number of good runs that we could get arcs out of. So yeah,
We do have some coming up that have some pretty
Batgirl does
strong
too.
female co-stars in the protagonist role. Like we have the Saga. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's whenever that's getting
I would
released.
consider her almost like the protagonist in the beginning of that.
I would too.
the
Yeah,
mom-
and then
the mom is.
Aquaman with
Mara.
Mara.
Yeah, we
She's
do.
really strong in that too.
Yeah, and so it's just you're right. Those are things that we have had on lists as well. So we will try to fold those in, just like we've said to everybody else who've given us suggestions. We appreciate that, and we will definitely try to work in some of those female characters, especially the specific Wonder Woman that you suggested. So I've read some great Wonder Woman stuff over the years. So there's lots of good stuff out there. But yeah, and next episode, we will be journeying back to the 90s to check out X-Men, the kind of blue and gold series that they did. So we're going to read issues 1 through 8. And that's really, if you've seen the X-Men cartoon show from back in the 90s with the theme song that's super stuck in your head if you think about it. If you remember Cyclops with his blue outfit and his yellow pouches, and Wolverine with his big mask, and Gambit with his trench coat. This is that series. This is going to have all of that stuff. So
Yeah, I'm
we're going to
looking forward
check
to
it
it.
out. Yep. It's got Professor Xavier in his yellow hover chair, the one that you
the
got
good
to
one.
see in the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness movie, the one that's modeled after that. That is what we're reading. So we're going to get some Professor Xavier to finally drop in.
See if he really is such a stand-up guy.
That's right.
To be
I
determined.
was really debating if we were going to touch that.
I don't know why you were debating that. It was going to happen from one of us.
Oh, man.
Oh yes.
But yeah, we'll see if this story has a leg to stand on. But
Ba-doom.
sorry, that it's worse when it's intentional.
Or is it better?
But yeah, so if you've ever been interested in X-Men, like Pat has, well, now's a great time to check it out. So read along with us. Hopefully, I will warn you, it's very 90s. It's got a lot of 90s flair.
Well, after this Nightfall thing, we are attuned to the 90s.
To the 90s. Oh, I will tell you, the acclaimed artist Jim Lee went on to become one of the premier comic artists, especially known for some of his work in DC. Wrote Hush. Not wrote, but he drew Hush and quite a bit of other stuff. He is the one that drew this X-Men stuff, I believe.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, this is kind of earlier in his career. So,
Great.
yeah, you'll get to check out some early Jim Lee stuff. But anyway, you guys have anything else?
I don't.
Nope, I think that was it.
Cool. Well,
Well, I guess that means I'm Patrick.
This is Will.
and I'm Chris, and we are Guys with Issues.
Dum-da-da-dum.
You can catch the new issue of Guys with Issues each week on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts.
Or check out our website at guyswithissues.com, where you can listen, find reading lists to follow along, and get to know us better.
You can also find us on Instagram at guys_with_issues and on Facebook at Guys with Issues.
Send us emails to longbox@guyswithissues.com and tell us your thoughts. Send us suggestions on what we should read next. We would love to hear from our listeners.
We should do a compilation that's just like weird bike sounds and like beard rubs. Like, this is the intro.
That's
I'm
hilarious.
Will. Welcome to Guys with Issues.
I like how our beards all sound different because they're different lengths. I shave down, so I just have short whiskers.
Because it's like,
That's why I have a really
Different.
nylon sound on the up. Listen. And then you hear it on the down.
but then we can do different notes. Like, and then Pat's got that deep bass.
We're ridiculous.
I was praised for that today.
Being ridiculous?
Yes.